It turns out that we had enough wood in our various wood piles, both in the garage and here in the studio, to build the new Lego City Island expansion. We didn't even need to go to Home Depot. Look at that. We had all the 2x6s from our old tables that were in our basement, and then we had enough melamine top, which was chopped down to the size that we like to use, 7 base plates. We don't even need more material. How insane is that? There are some specific cuts that we need to make. For example, we need to adjust the length of some of these 2x6s, and we also need to like mill them or fabricate them to give them that nice edge that we like so much. But yeah, look at that. We're ready to construct some new tables for the Lego City. It's a very exciting day here in the Lego studio. Let's get started. The concept for this Lego City expansion actually didn't happen just overnight. I actually revealed the concept of filling in this space with more tables for the Lego City back when we originally revealed the designs for the tables during a video that I released on April 1st in 2024. I always knew that this space would be open for a future Lego City expansion, and here we are building the tables for that today. When this area was the medieval expansion, which was a little bit lower, it hosted the medieval sets, and it was a little bit scattered, and I never got around to building the medieval diorama. The reason I never got around to building the medieval diorama is because we had so much to do in the Lego City, and sometimes that surface became a cluttered mess or just a dumping ground for anything in the studio, mostly Lego sets though. And I would commonly find myself rebase plating it, cleaning it up, tidying it up, then filling it full of other Lego sets and sort of using it as like a temporary storage spot. But I can definitely reassure you that that is not going to happen with this surface here, because this surface is an extension of the Lego City. So these tables are actually going to get filled in right away. Whereas the medieval diorama sort of got put on the back burner just because I was focused on building the Lego City. So I didn't really want to allocate my parts and time budget to that particular project, but this one here is the Lego City, so I'm okay with taking it on now. So right now you're seeing us build our Lego City tables. You might have seen something similar to this in the past when we built the massive tables, which are behind us there. And also when I built tables for the basement, and I also built tables for the previous basement before that. The first thing we do is we actually run our 2x4s and 2x6s through a table saw. We take off 1/8 of an inch on either side. That removes that rounded edge, which gives them more of a polished look, and also the tabletops, which are going to be melamine in this case, sit just like better on top of them, if that makes sense. The next thing we have to do, of course, is to cut those 2x6s to the proper length. So we have our 2x6s on either side. That's sort of like on the ends of our two tables. And then we have the 2x6s within those ones on either side, and also a center joist in the middle. And when I screw all of that wood together using 3.5-inch deck screws, it makes a pretty rock solid foundation. It's like deck strong. After we have those constructed, it's time to install the legs, which in this case, we're just using 2x6s because we're using wood that we have within our wood piles. Classically, I would prefer to use 4x4 posts. They are better than using 2x6s, but 2x6s will get the job done. We clamp them in place by using 2 clamps, so we clamp them against the outside board and also the end board. We make sure they're flush with the top, and then I pop a total of 5 screws into each 2x6 leg. Once we have both frames built, which are supported by 4 2x6 legs, and yes, we could add more legs and we could add more center bracing if needed. We align them, making sure they're square with the other Lego City tables, and then we connect them using more 2x6 braces in the center, which provides a pretty rock solid foundation for the center there, because once again, we have 3.5-inch deck screws going into those 2x6s. Thank you so much, Whatnot, for sponsoring this video. My next auction is going down on Thursday, June 5th, starting at 2 o'clock Mountain Time. During that stream, I'm going to be auctioning off a ton of cool minifigures and minifigure parts, along with some sets. I'm also going to be giving away the Lego house set, the Grogu with hover pram, and some minifigures. If you're not on Whatnot, you can join using my affiliate link. When you join using that link, of course, I highly appreciate it. You're also going to get a $15 credit, which can be redeemed in your country's currency. It's going to be a ton of fun. I hope to see you there. All right, let's get back to the Lego table construction. Once that's all taken care of, it's time to pop on the tops. And the tops, luckily for us, were already cut down to the 7 base plate length, which is actually 70 inches plus 1 tick. It's like 70.07 inches, because one base plate is 10.01 inches, if you want to be exactly precise about it. So there are a few that are a little bit too long, so I have to shave a sliver off of those. And yes, I have done a lot of wood cutting behind the scenes today. Now our surface here is, once again, 7 base plates deep, and it's 20 base plates wide. So it's 200.2 inches long, which will be the exact measurement of base plates. If you're a little bit short or a little bit over, it's not really the end of the world if a base plate hangs off a little bit, or if the table hangs out a little bit. You really don't see that type of stuff. It all gets covered up with Lego anyway. Honestly, when you're dealing with imperfect lumber, which pretty much every piece of lumber that I've ever touched is, it's warped, it's twisted, it's hard to get perfect. Also, you're dealing with saw blades, so if you don't get your cuts exact every single time, it's gonna cause little tiny measurement mess ups, and those little mess ups over time or over long spans add up to a larger mess up. But once again, I've built so many tables like this, I know that you can just hide it all with Lego, and it doesn't really matter if it's not perfect. Although I do like it to be perfect, I've sort of gotten over that. All right, it doesn't need to be perfect, Jordan. It's all good, just settle down. But just like that, we've built a pretty cool surface for the Lego City Island. Now, could we use more legs? Absolutely we could. I'm aware 2x6 legs might not be ideal. Could we add more bracing to the tables? For example, could I run a brace this way? Yes, we could. They could do one there, we could do one there. But this span right here really isn't that long, and it's a 2x6. I can literally stand on top of the table, so it's pretty rock solid. Maybe I'll get around to adding some more legs, but to be honest with you, our wood pile, like, just barely made it by. In fact, it was precise to the inch, because the only 2x6s or 2x4s that we have left is this right here. And none of these are long enough to add any bracing to the tables. I don't think they are, at least. Or none of these are long enough to add legs to the tables. Pretty crazy, hey? It was like exact, which is just bonkers, if you ask me. I don't know why things like that keep happening, but they do, and it is pretty satisfying. But to be honest with you, I didn't even measure. Would these be long enough for center bracing? Could you imagine if they were like perfect? Holy cow, they pretty much are. Okay, I could add some center braces if need be. So for example, I could add one right there and bridge across. I really don't think it's gonna need it, but if it does, I guess we do have, once again, the precise amount of lumber, just conveniently. That is insane. We'd wanna add 1, 2, 3, 4 center braces. So yeah, we have like the exact amount of lumber that we would need to do that. That is just mind-blowing. Oh my gosh, and to be honest with you, these I would like to add after anyway, because the boards, once again, aren't perfectly straight and they're a little bit warped. So the way we would do that is we would just measure from there to there, wherever we'd like to put it, and then just screw it in place. That is insane that we had just the perfect amount of lumber. It blows my mind, everybody. Like, it's just sort of dawned on my mind right now how like crazy that was. And a big shout out to Sting's Bricks. Thank you so much, man. He's a local bricklinker here who always helps me out with like tables and table designs and all that. Big shout out to him, because he actually came over here today. We swung over to the wood pile in my garage, and he helped me transport all the wood over here in his truck. Pretty much cleared out my garage of all the lumber that was there. So that really worked out. Thank you so much, man. That was a huge help. And check it out, everybody. Another thing that's pretty satisfying about these particular layouts is Mrs. Bricksie and I actually took the time to add the hockey stick tape edging. Yeah, we've got the hockey stick tape edging there, which works perfectly for the melamine, because the melamine sort of has like a rough edge, and it can cut you. It can damage your hands. It can give you little nicks and stuff all over your hands, right? So this softens that edge, and of course it just gets rid of the unfinished edge. We know that you can use the iron-on style stuff there, but that is a lot more time consuming to apply, and it also costs a lot more money than just buying rolls of hockey stick tape. And honestly, it just needs to be a little bit white. You're not going to notice that it's taped. Well, I guess you will notice that it's taped, but it's going to look just as good as using the banding, and it's a lot more affordable, and once again, easier to apply, and we've gone around and just added it everywhere. Now, unfortunately, it's a little bit weird here in some areas, but I'm going to fix that with shims. Once again, just warped wood. You can see just a little bit off there, but if I just throw a shim in there or screw this one down, and then it's going to even that all out, just like I've been doing within the larger table system. Now, after the frames were constructed, I went around with my big 4-foot level, and I made sure everything was leveled off. And believe it or not, there's only one side that needed a little bit of love, and that was this side right over here. So I used my billiard table shims, or table levelers. These are essentially like hockey pucks that have been sliced up. If you're building Lego City tables, would highly recommend ordering these from Amazon. They are incredible. They're what they use to level off pool tables. So yeah, it's just a brilliant thing to have if you're custom building Lego City tables. In regards to what's going on this Lego City table, it's going to be Lego, believe it or not. It's not going to be a dumping ground, I can promise you that. It's going to be Lego. It's going to happen right away. This is the concept that I've come up with so far. I'm going to talk about the connection of this table to the other portion of the Lego City, although this is an island, and also what we're going to do throughout the center of this table. So we are going to add a platform that's at this height all throughout the center. It could be higher in different regions, but I don't want to go too high because that's going to block the main Lego City back there. But the reason I want to make it this height, which is just also another thing that is just really satisfying, you can take 2x4s, 2x3s, 2x6s, whatever it may be, and pop them on their side. And then you can take a sheet of melamine or plywood that's 5/8 of an inch thick, which is pretty standard, and pop that on top. And when you do that, and you take 7 bricks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you pop it on top of a base plate, and you put a Mills plate on top of the surface that we very easily created using 2x6s, 2x4s, 2x3s, and a 5/8 sheet of melamine, it lines up perfectly. And that is just like too perfect to not run with. The nice thing I like about that is I can just come over here and I can grab any one of these cutoffs and I can use these as supports for my sheets that are going to run throughout the center, any shape, size, cutout, whatever it may be, and it's going to work out beautifully with the Lego math. It is going to save me thousands of dollars in pieces that it would take to elevate this using Lego. It would take thousands of dollars to elevate it in Lego. So I'm going to do it with wood, and it's going to be legendary because we are going to have a Lego City, or a portion of the Lego City that's elevated up off the water, and it's going to be surrounded by water. It's going to be so cool. So when I get all of the base plates laid on here, and it's more like an island effect, my plan is to notch some of these pieces here, notch a base plate out of it. So then we can have unique angles and everything like that. Also, we can have some of the coastline of this island bulge out onto the base plate perimeter and sort of swerve. Some of it can be rock, some of it can be platform covering, some of it can be a tapered downward beach, just like we have over here, but we're going to have a lot more depth to work with. Right now, we're only working with the Mills plate height, which is 1 brick and 1 plate, but our water is 1 plate and 1 tile. So there's not a whole lot of depth on that beach, but we can have a really like tapered down beach. We can have like so many unique things on here because we have that height that we can work with. And the sheets of wood that I have are a reasonable size so I could really mess around with notching out certain things for this island. And it is going to be so cool. Now, if you watched my video that I released on April 1st in 2024, when I was talking about the Lego City tables and how we were going to construct them, we saw that this table here was once again part of the plan. However, it was a little bit different. This table here was supposed to be connected to that city. So it was built the exact same way. Your 70-inch table, you got your 35-inch filler there, 3.5 base plates, creating 35-inch by 35-inch or 3.5 by 3.5 base plate access points, and this is going to be an extension of that. So this right here is 3.5 by 3.5 base plates. Same with the other one, same with the other one. And we worked out the math, so it's like perfect, right? It took a lot of planning to get this perfect. And originally, this was just going to be an extension of that. But you can see that this area right here is a lot more than 35 inches. In fact, it's 15 inches more, or 1.5 base plates, which is 5 base plates. So from this Lego City over here to this table, it is 5 base plates. Why did we increase it? And what was the thought process behind that? Well, we knew that we couldn't fit another one of these surfaces within this area. We could only fit one because we'd be coming too close to the staircase here, and we just don't want to make this place too claustrophobic. So we decided to give ourselves 48 inches, or essentially 50 inches of walking space right here between the couch and the table, which matches the walking space over here, give or take an inch or two. And then we have 40 inches from here to the wall, and over here it is 38.5 inches from here to the wall where we have the spaceman. So like it's pretty much centered within this area, which I think is really cool. And the reason we brought it 5 base plates or 50 inches away from these tables is because what we're going to do right away is actually connect this to the Lego City. It's not going to be connected in the same way, but rather it's only going to be connected in the center. So you can see where we have the zoo there, that is a 7 base plate span. So what we're going to do is get some more wood, 2x4s probably, and we're going to connect them to this table frame, and we're going to run them across into this table frame. So we're going to need probably 4 or 5 connectors all the way across. We're going to build legs down. It's going to fully support that. And then we're going to lay a piece of melamine on top of that, bridging that across. And that is going to be the connection. And this here is all going to be water around this island. The interesting thing about doing that is we can play around with some different ideas. This island will no longer have to be a square. This island here, pretty square right now. But when we have the connection point, we can come in here and we can sort of bring it out and it can sort of bulge, right? Or another thing that we can do, this is just something that I came up with while I couldn't sleep and I was thinking about this project, is we can make a smaller island in the middle, and it might be a really cool spot for like an Alcatraz-style prison. I think that would be super neat. But before I start working on this, unfortunately for me, we don't have the right lumber and the right material. So I do have to go to Home Depot in the end to get the proper construction material to connect this new island surface to the larger Lego City. So the table construction, unfortunately, is not done at this point, but we made some tremendous progress today, that's for sure. It's definitely something that I am like really excited about. I'm really passionate about this project. I think it's going to be really cool. It's going to add a new dynamic to the Lego City that we can really play around with. We can play around with the island concept. We can play around with all sorts of different things. I think primarily what's going to go on this island here, believe it or not, is going to be modular buildings and an expansion of the downtown core, like my original idea when I was playing around with this concept on the medieval surface. It's not going to be all the modular buildings, but I want to free up a bunch of space on these tables over here so that we can do more stuff back by the amusement park. There's been a lot of great feedback in regards to what I should do on this surface here. There's been Jurassic World, there has been amusement park, there has been a Ninjago Island. There has been so many interesting ideas and concepts as to what I could do here. And I do agree with a lot of them. And I do agree that they would be super cool because there are some great Lego themes. But my favorite thing is Lego City, modular buildings, downtown cores, and I want that to be front and center here, and I want it to be unique with like angled roads and all that different stuff, and I think that would just be a really neat way to display a bunch of different cool modular buildings. And what that's gonna do is it's going to free up a bunch of space from the back section of the Lego City where we have the amusement park and where we have Ninjago and where we have all of those unique mountains and countrysides and style and that style of stuff. And that's where we're going to focus on Ninjago and stuff. I can't say that Ninjago and Jurassic is my favorite theme of Lego City building. I think my favorite theme of Lego City building is downtown core. So I want to mess around with the downtown core on this diorama. Is there going to be trains that connect to this? I don't think so, because trains use up a lot of space. So I don't think we're going to add trains to this particular area. But I do think that when I add this 50-inch by 70-inch or 5 by 7 base plate expansion here, that we will be able to have a road that connects to this via a bridge. I think that would be super cool. I think that needs to happen because, of course, I'm going to have roads over here to service everything that we can find on this island. And the island is going to be Lego City based, so there's going to be a lot of Lego City style things that you would find in a city, like boats, beaches, rough water, rocks, maybe like a little mini lighthouse, whatever it may be that you would find in a Lego City downtown core with a giant coastline. So it's going to be a lot of fun to work on, and I'm really excited about this project. I know there's a lot to do over here, and that was a lot of people's concern, that I have too much stuff to do here, and there's a lot of concern about how this project was only 50% done. But believe it or not, it's actually probably more than 50% full, because 3/4 of this side is full. From the residential over to there is full. Granted, we need to work on some of the detail-orientated things, but I just wanted to spark something different. I wanted to continue to develop the city, and I wanted to reach that end game surface layout. I'm all about getting that end game surface layout going, and I just wanted to work on a different project, and I wanted to build some tables again just because I have so much fun with it. I love building city tables. It's cool, right? You can hop up on there and be like, woo! But yeah, I'm really excited about this project. I think it's going to be sick. I can't wait to continue working on it, so make sure you stay tuned. Thank you so much for coming on by. Please remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned. Farewell. Have a great day. Bye for now. Whew, made it safe.